Labor Director Dave Delasolo onto the show here. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Sabrina.
Good
How are you
morning.
guys today?
Doing pretty good.
That's good.
So how close are we? I know you. I was reading that release over the weekend about the delay with the feds depositing the first installment of the 276 million. So now you guys have it in your accounts, and of course, the big question everybody wants to know is when are we going to start being able to apply?
That's a very good question, Sabrina.
I think it's the only question anybody wants to know.
We worked this weekend, taking a real close look, vetting out all the issues for our last cleanup of the program to make sure that it is tweaked and ready as much as it can be for prime time. Hopefully tomorrow we're going to get and give them the list. We're just trying to go through and put in as many dummy claims and writing down all the problems, features that may not be working correctly, or things that could make the user experience better. So we're on that final stage, the last list that at least before going live.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to get this thing live before the end of this month, and maybe sooner, depending on what the programmers will say as far as the laundry list that we have. Every time they do, we give them a list, they put it in, we go through it again. And as with any software, you just constantly, as new features get turned on, we keep vetting it and trying to make it perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be the best. It's not going to be. Time is so short, and this unemployment insurance program is so big and complicated, and we're trying to whittle it down to make it simplified for the users here on Guam.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be anything that they've seen before, so they're probably going to need some guidance and help, and that's why we're really going to start training the employers that are out there that have reached out. There's employers that are asking for us to go through it so that they can assist their employees. We're going to have some places that are going to assist their people applying. I hope that when somebody sits down and does an application and successful, that they in turn, once you do it the first time, you'll get the pretty good hang of it. And I think you can then reach out and get other people to apply and start helping them. So it'll kind of snowball out like that.
Dave, is the problem on our end? Our local agency just can't seem to get it together, or is it the federal government holding up this process? Because I got to tell you, people have been waiting for a while on, how are we going to do this online application? And we seem to be hearing the same thing for the past couple of weeks. And just another thing, when you say at the end of the month, we are talking about the end of this week, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it out by the end of this week.
Yeah, obviously you feel people are very frustrated, Dave.
I feel them. I'm very frustrated. It's just this program will take a claim and not only take the claim but adjudicate it, and then then you go back and you put in all your weekly claims from when the date that you're affected. It'll calculate every week the amount that you are due, whether you're reduced hours or not, and it'll package it and come up with a total dollar amount. And it'll make sure if there's any problems or with the application that it flags it up for us to take a second look at it. I mean, this isn't a little program that you just fill out a form and submit it. This is a huge, powerful, complicated program, and it's just nothing I've seen before. If you ever been in the U.S. and you've applied for unemployment insurance, you get a taste of what it's like, and I'm trying to make it as adequate as possible, because it is. I could sit here and keep going back and forth and tweaking it for months, and I just don't have that time. So I'm trying to find that balance, because I know you're frustrated. I'm frustrated. The island needs it, but the money that's going to be going out with this is tremendous. These first checks are going to be $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, and we're going to be handing out almost $1 billion. And I know I'm not. I need to get this thing as right as possible so that USDOL will keep giving us the funding and see that the program is working well, and with all the things that they're putting in. I remember I talked to you last that between the save and all that other stuff I have to put in, it's not going to be all in there yet. I had to make a decision to say, okay, let's get the application part vetted. Let's concentrate on that. Let's get that running as well as possible. Let's get that part so that it can produce all the reports. It can do all the calculations. It can come up with dollar sums, and it'll handle the claimants. And then by that time we start putting in all the apps, we can work out the other parts that are waiting for, as far as the accounts and the things that are not in my control. Right. So that way it doesn't hold it up.
I know that the CNMI governor had just said earlier in our news that they got $70 million and their applications rolling out this week.
Well, they're supposed to be using our software.
Oh.
And they're sitting back waiting for me to finish it up before they can get a hold of it.
Hey, Dave, let me ask you something, because I had over the weekend, specifically, and I'll get a hold of Ty later, but with census workers, right? So census workers are telling me that they haven't been paid since the beginning of the month, but when they looked at
they would qualify.
The higher Guam or whatever it is where the employer's supposed to register, they said the census hasn't registered. So in an event like that where you have workers who haven't been paid, obviously because of COVID-19, but the employer doesn't file, where does that leave the worker?
They just file, and then they self-certify, and that's something that's very easy to check. Okay. I can get a list or something like that. So anybody that's out there, if you don't get those letters, if you don't have everything that you need that's on that checklist, those are things that if you can get as many as possible, make for a cleaner application. But if you don't have those things, you're going to self-certify that under federal fraud and perjury and all that stuff, that everything is true and correct. And that won't hold up your application. It just, the more stuff that are in there, the cleaner and the easier it is to audit and make sure that everything is correct. But I'm not going to hold up anybody's application because of things that are beyond their control.
Right. Good call.
Those are the mechanisms that I'm trying to get, because, Chris, believe it or not, I do want to get this money out there as quickly as possible. Right. When you got this responsibility of this much money, you have to take it seriously and make sure that it's done properly. I'm still scared when this goes out with the complicated form that's going to go out. It takes about 40 minutes to put in an application, and I hope that it's going to go smoothly and everything's going to go well, and we're going to start seeing those numbers cranking out. I do want to make sure that I do make a call out, and if you can make sure everybody, they got to get bank accounts. Right. It's just a smarter way to go. You can't I can't have thousands of people walking around with $8,000 checks. You're not going to be able to cash them. There just isn't that much cash on this island. So go out there, get your bank account, get the electronic funds transfer. That'll be the fastest way to get the money, and it's really the way you get. Banks and everybody aren't going to be able to cash everybody's checks, and you're going to be required to get a bank account, because and I don't want people going home with that much cash. It's just not safe.
So Dave, just to clarify what you're saying here, are people going to be required to get bank accounts to get their unemployment?
No, you can get a check. Okay. It'll be cut and then it'll be mailed to you.
All right.
Some people like to have that paper check in their hand.
I'm one of those
not
people.
A problem.
Hey, Dave. And, just going back to, oh God, did I just forget what I was going to say? You said $8,000, $9,000 checks, so obviously these are going to be backdated, right?
Yep, retro to the date that you were affected. and that's why I really need to make sure that the system is working well, and I try to get it as close as possible, because now I can't push, I don't want to push it anymore. I want to get this out before the end of this month. I need to get this going and start the application process. I just am working with this complicated program to get it as clean as possible. I appreciate everybody's patience. I know it's not, everybody is hurting, and believe me, with the amount of money that's going to be going out for as long as it's going to go out, I just need it to run as adequately as possible so that everybody can get those checks in hand and start getting them on a regular basis.
Okay. Just for
I'm
clarity.
going to be training. Go ahead.
Just for clarity, you are anticipating the start of the online application process for next week.
No, I want it this week, by the end of this month.
Right, which is Sunday.
Yeah, somewhere between there. Tomorrow or the next day, like I say, I'm going to tell the programmers, fix on this list as much as you can to go live. When can we go live, and when can we, out of this list, we can just push it as it goes live. They can continuously tweak it, because it's going to happen. When people start using it, they're going to start saying, well, this isn't working right because you got so many users, and we can fix these things on the fly. Mm-hmm. Any issues that come out when you're getting, tens of thousands of people starting to put in claims and something is glitching, they're standing by 24/7, they said, and to remedy any of these issues that come up as users are going online. So I'm going to start training by the end of this week a lot of the businesses and hotels to start standing, so because they want to stand up facilities for their employees, and that'll be a big help. And I hope that everything just goes well at the end of this week. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm working every day to get this right, and I appreciate your guys' understanding that as things, this is a complicated program, and every time you just keep tweaking it, you just keep wanting to make it better. And I'm going to get it out by the end of this week, and
okay,
we look forward to getting the money out to everybody.
Us too. I hope next time we talk to you, you got some checks.
I hope that I can start getting applications in, and people are starting to feel better about that.
Once, I did want to just ask about, once you apply online, what's the turnaround time to vet that application and for the check to be cut?
Well, the regular standard time is 21 days. I hope to do that better. There's still the cutting the check part that needs to be finished in the program, but that doesn't take long. It's just a matter of the procurement being finished.
Right, and the governor's getting you the extra bodies you need, right, Dave? I heard that there's a lot of transfers over to you.
Yes, I do have the bodies. I could use more, but the hard part is I don't, with this quarantine, I can't, I don't have the facilities for everybody, so I have to bring them in batches. So it's really tough trying to mobilize teams of people when you got to keep the quarantine distancing and keeping everybody safe.
Right.
That's just puts such a tough element in the organizing this whole program.
Just so, did I hear that correctly? That if I apply, say it opens tomorrow, and I go online and I apply, it could take 3 weeks to a month before I actually receive a check.
I don't
you said
know.
21 days?
Give you a time. That's the standard by the regs. It says 21 days once you accept the claim. I of course want to try to get it faster,
right?
But until I start getting claims, I start batching them up, and I start moving them forward.
Then you'll know.
And hopefully everything. Then I know. I don't know how this application process. Everything is is such huge numbers.
Yeah.
So yes,
We got a comment.
I would say 21 and then do better.
Right.
Is
Hawaii
what I-
process,
is what I-
Dave, for error-free applications a week and a half.
Say that again.
This is just from a viewer. Hawaii's process for error-free applications a week and a half. 21 days is not acceptable.
21 days is the standard. Don't forget, Hawaii already has a UI system
Right,
in
yeah,
place.
I got it.
They already have all these mechanisms. I'm starting it up. You know, you can go to any state and say, how long did it take you to put up a UI program? I'll stand behind my saying, nobody is going to be able to do it in less than a year, let alone in 2 months. So you got to compare apples and apples. Somebody that has a full boat UI process, checks everything going out, and all they're doing is adding a thing with,
Correct, yeah.
You can't say that. I don't have to get the say. All those things that I'm coming required, they already have in place.
Got it.
You know.
Mm-hmm. You know, I gotta ask this, Dave, because it still kind of bothers me
I know.
that
Sure.
you know, we talk about how hard you've been working, and I get that, and you know, I believe you. But
I know.
you know, you have a deputy director who seems to be able-bodied and who
He's running
could
the
have
department.
helped you, but he was also kicking it at the Packstar working. So if
was
he
there
had been
during the
there
quarantine.
right with you, helping you, could we have seen a little bit more progress at this point?
Honestly,
I mean,
no,
you
because
would
as
think
soon
we'd
as
pick him
I
up because
knew-
he's got all this experience, but he's over there doing quarantine work, supposedly, allegedly,
as soon
and getting
as I
paid
needed him,
15%
I pulled him.
differential.
As soon as I needed him, I pulled him to run the department. When we were under quarantine, we were working with a small pool of people, just trying to get the pieces in place for the program. As soon as the pieces started putting together, I pulled him and he started running the department and taking care of standing up all the staff and getting everything running. So I just been concentrating on the PUA side of this whole program.
Oh, way to go to bat for your deputy, Dave.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Chris.
Okay. Hey, we'll let you get back to work, man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
for
all you've been doing.
I just want to. You're welcome, and I appreciate your guys' patience. I do want to tell you that we have today 1,063 employees that have registered on the module, and we are over 20,214 separation notices put in. So that's doing fairly well. It can always be better, but over 20,000, that's pretty good. And remember, these are just employees, not self-employed. So if you add in all those self-employed people, the numbers would be a lot higher. So I still keep pushing them out there to register and enter those people, but we have over 20,000 now that have separate notices that are in the system. And remember, when you apply as a claimant, it will talk. Those employees that are put in there will help just adjudicate the claims that much faster.
Right.
You don't need to have it, but it just makes it quicker and cleaner.
Dave, for applicants with bank accounts, when the application comes out, would that bank account information be on the application?
You enter it in. Yes.
Okay.
The standard routing and ABA numbers
Right,
and
right.
account that you put in. You just enter that right in, and then from then on, every time you do a weekly claim, and you put in what you made for the week or didn't make for the week, and verify that you're still willing and able to work and that you are looking for work, then the system will automatically calculate and if everything's clean, push that to the payment side for a file, and then I would take that file over to DOA, and then they will start processing that.
Got it. Thank you, Dave, man. We'll let you get back to work. Wash your hands and keep us posted.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I
Dave.
appreciate everything that you guys
Of
do.
course.
We appreciate you
Right
too.
on.
Thanks.
Okay, bye. Okay. Sabrina.
What?
No, I mean, yeah, but yeah, the deputy director was over there delivering towels to people's rooms at the Pacific Star.
I mean, this is so
Well, Dave
important.
is
to people.
obviously in way over his head. I mean,
No, he's been the Department of Labor director in the past.
but this is a huge. It's huge. It's so
Yeah.
huge. You know what I mean? When he talks about it, it's frustrating because it kind of feels like he's been saying the same thing for a few weeks, and that's probably because he has been. He's been real careful to not give a timeline.
You know, there's an oversight hearing on Monday. That's why
Right.
it's interesting that let's get this out ASAP.
Right. Yeah. So.
But just I make sure everybody knows he was talking about going to the bank. Make sure you get direct deposit because it's going to help speed up the process.
Right.
And that's something that the Guam Bankers Association is also recommending, that you do establish a direct deposit, have a bank account, so that you can get this money a lot faster. But even still, he was mentioning that once you apply, there's this 21-day standard time.
God, donuts.
So. Yeah, I could say.
I mean, but Dave, obviously he doesn't want to make you guys wait another 21 days.
Yeah,
so
he
I
doesn't.
mean, that's nuts. It's nuts. That means July. I mean, people